time to do the scene, that point became one of the things in the scene, and I wrote it and I read it to a friend of mine, and as soon as I got to that point, they just started bursting out laughing. And I realized, I think I got something here. And it's right up there with the handing out the color names in Reservoir Dogs. I think it's pretty funny. We just did it last week.
So we're going to open it up to the audience for some questions, but I have one more, and if you don't mind, your t-shirt. Tell us what this is.
Oh, this is
these are the characters.
Yeah, an artist sent me a t-shirt of all my characters fighting in a sandbox. As a little kid, sort of like the comic book, The Little Archies?
Yeah.
All right, well, they're sort of like the Little Archies of all my characters.
Now, fans of your movies have poured over it, and they pull out little details, and they try to find a unified theory of the Tarantino verse, where is Mr. White, Vincent Vega's brother from Pulp Fiction, is Donnie Donowitz, the father of Lee Donowitz.
Well, it's not Mr. White. It's Vic Vega. It's Mr. Blonde.
Blonde. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But no, but yeah, Mr. Blonde. Are there any characters in Django who are the forebears of other characters in Quentin Tarantino?
Well, there is one, but I don't want to say it. I want you to just watch it and figure it out and everything. However, there is one thing I will say though. Broomhilda von Shaft, her and Django will eventually have a baby. And then that baby will have a baby, and then that baby will have a baby, and that baby will have a baby, and one of these days, John Shaft will be born. John Shaft started with this lady here, and this man here. They're the great-great-great-great-grandparents of Shut Your Mouth.
John Shaft?
Who is the man who risked his neck for brother man? Shut. Right on.
See, I saw the leather etching on that saddle with the D, and I thought, maybe one of his children will have a wallet with something.
Possibly.
Possibly? All right, let's keep going. Let's open it up for the audience. Unless you had something to add there, Jim. No?
Hey, I like your tailor, young lady.
Quentin Tarantino, this is crazy. I'm your biggest fan. A bunch of us camped out here last night to see you today.
Thank you very much. You look damn hot in that right outfit, I gotta say.
That's going on the blog later.
My Charlize Theron is playing the bride. You look awesome, honey.
Thank you so much. Okay. So, you consistently write films with strong, assertive, intelligent women when other writers, both male and female, struggle to avoid female stereotypes. So, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more of some of the female characters of this film, and if you could give advice to other writers trying to write full, interesting female characters.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, darling. Well, you know, one of the things that's actually kind of, one of the things in my work is I don't really do family dramas or anything like that. I usually do genre cinema.
That'll be some family.
Yeah, exactly. Be it action films or kung fu films or whatever. And in the history of genre cinema, there's been quite a few proactive, female Avengers or warriors or heroes and heroines in the cinema. Not always in American cinema, but definitely in Hong Kong cinema and Japanese cinema and cinema throughout genre cinema throughout the world. And I just dig strong chicks. I don't know how to write it any other way than that. And now it's funny because one of the things in this movie, some people have brought up about, I would think that from the man who wrote Kill Bill, that I'd like to see the black heroine in this be kicking ass and doing this and doing that. And I go, well, that's not this story, though. That's not this story. This story, to me, there is an aspect of Broomhilda is a princess in exile. She, if this is that kind of tale like I've been telling, Leonardo's Calvin Candy character, he's the evil king who has taken over and has ruined the countryside, ruined the kingdom, and is driving it into the ground and murdering people. And she's the princess in exile who's trapped in the tower and can't get out, has tried. When we eventually finally catch up with her character after seeing her through memory pieces and fantasies from moments from Django's imagination, when we finally catch up with her, she's just tried to escape. She's being punished for escaping, so she's done everything she can on her own to get away, and she can't. And she needs the love of her life to come down there and burn this motherfucker down.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Quentin does so beautifully, to speak to your question about advice and how, is that Quentin he doesn't just write strength for the sake of strength. He writes true characters. So, and he really thinks about the cultural and the psychological context of the character. So, this is a woman who exists in a time when black women had to be independently strong because the destruction of the black community began with the breakdown of the black family. So black men and women were separated, not allowed to love each other, not allowed to be married, not allowed to have their own children. So the strength is actually the strength to believe in love and in one's own humanity in a time when in our Constitution, they're only 3/5 of a human being. So there's a unique strength that fits this time period. So it's not just kick ass for the sake of kick ass. It's like, what makes this person strong? It's her belief in love, her belief that in a time when two people aren't allowed to love each other, she truly in her heart believes that maybe there's an idea that he could come back and that she's lovable and deserving of that love, and the idea that she could be a princess rescued in a castle in a time when black women were never afforded even the luxury of having that fantasy.
This question is actually for the entire panel. First off, thank you so much for being here. You guys are totally setting that bar real fucking high today. Sorry about the language. This question especially, it starts with Quentin. You have a knowledge of cinema that is beyond anything I could imagine. What did you give them to reference? And for the panel, what did you guys think of the stuff that he gave you?
Oh, that's interesting. It was actually funny. I think actually of the group here, it was really only Carrie. All right, because Carrie was the super inquisitive one about stuff. All right.
Imagine that.
Carrie just looked at it like, oh wow, I get to hang out with a film professor. Teach me, feed me. And. So I actually pointed Carrie in the direction of a few different movies. Actually, in particular, some stuff from the 30s and the 40s that actually dealt with the antebellum South, and not in the worst way possible. That actually were quite interesting. One of the movies I gave her to watch in particular is a film called The Flame of New Orleans, directed by Renee Claire, and it starred Marlene Dietrich. And the thing about René Clair being this great French director, who normally makes movies in France, and it's all about the picadillos and the intrigues of the house. In his French movies, you would follow the servants as well as you would follow the masters of the house in their sexual goings-on and their flirtations and their picadillos. Well, when he dealt with a movie that took place in antebellum New Orleans, he did the same thing with the slave characters. You're actually following them, and this slave is gonna crush on this guy, on this girl, and when the two white masters meet together, the slaves go off walking together too, and it's a refreshing portrayal. from a master filmmaker. And so that was one of the ones that I gave her to watch. And I also gave you the spoilers to watch, because actually there was this also because Marlene Dietrich's maid in that movie is called Romilda. You want to watch this one too? Sure, I'll watch it. Anything, I'm happy.
Yeah. But honestly, you think you know the extent of his knowledge about cinema and music and television. It's ridiculous. I mean, when you were on set with this man, half the time you're like, I don't know what he's talking about. It's amazing. We had a cast dinner where he referenced something that Don did, that Don was like, I forgot about that. I mean, it was like...
No, that's a true story. He said, yeah, you did this film at... so I said, no, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
He said, no, you did it. This was the art director. This was the third grip. This was the best boy.
What was it?
Shit, yeah, I did do that.
I talked about so much stuff. I don't remember exactly which one we were talking about. But actually, on the set, I have a 35 print of this really fun movie that Don did back in 1975 called Return to Macon County, with him and Nick Nolte together, and I have a print of it, so we actually screened that for the cast, and that was a really good screening of that day.
That was big fun. Yeah. In answer to that question, just to top it off, I had some downtime on the movie, and Quentin sent me a care package of films that I should brush up on, and I was a big fan of spaghetti westerns anyway, but Sergio Leone and all the stuff that had been circulated around to those of us who didn't get so deep into the art houses as maybe some others, So he enlightened me to Sergio Corbucci and a film called Minnesota Clay, and I, as I was laid up recovering and everything, I got deep into these films. I went, oh shit, now I know what he's talking about.
And Corbucci directed 66's Django.
Yeah,
you have Franco Nero, the actor.
Oh yeah,
in that movie in this.
Absolutely.
Get him into it, and just see, want to be in another Django movie?
Oh well, I've met Franco Nero is one of my favorite Western icons that there is, and Sergio Corbucci is definitely the spiritual godfather of this film. I don't think the film even would have been this way if I had been so. I was actually writing a book about Sergio Corbucci when I came up with actually the way to finally tell the story. One of the things that's fun about when you write subtextual film criticism is your whole thing is you're making a case for what this director's world point of view or what he's trying to do with the story. That's the whole thing. Now, in subtextual film criticism, you don't have to be right. It doesn't have to be what the director necessarily was thinking. It's just what you're gathering from it, and you're making the case. It doesn't matter what they were thinking on the day. So I was writing this thing and really dealing with how his movies have this evil Wild West, horrible Wild West, and it's surreal, and it really dealt a lot with fascism, left over from World War II, dealing with it in his Western characters. So I'm writing this whole piece on this. And then I was thinking, at some point, I go, well, I don't really know if this is what Sergio was thinking while he was doing this, but I know I'm thinking it now, and I can do it. And so that's when I kind of got the idea to actually finally tell this story. Once I had the landscape and the universe that it needed to take place in. And when I think, well, what could be that horrible a West? What could be a story that has those kind of consequences? I go, the antebellum South.
Now, we are out of time. I wish we could go
Let's do one more question.
All right, one more question. But it has to be good. Is it good? You got a good one?
Well, yeah.
All right, you better make it count.
I just want to say, Quentin, you are a glorious bastard.
Thank you much, mate.
And I love your films. I was just wondering if Sacha Baron Cohen made it into the film. And can you tell us, Kill Bill 3, will there be
I'm not sure if there's going to be a Kill Bill 3. I was always going to wait 10 years from the first one, so we'll see what happens. It's kind of a thing in progress. No, Sacha wasn't able to do it, but he's a great guy, and we'll probably do something else together.
Was he doing the Joker role?
Yeah, no. He was going to be in another character. He was going to be another character, but the thing is, that piece we ended up not doing it. We ended up taking it out of the movie.
Now, in keeping with that, we'll close with one question. After you're going to finish shooting in a week, you got to edit, and you're going to go talk about this movie all over the world. Do you know what's next? What 13-year-old idea is rattling around your head and made to the screen next?
This one has been such a lifetime adventure as far as doing it's concerned. I think this and Kill Bill are like my two biggest adventures as far as, there's a big adventure making the movie. There's the adventure of the movie, the epicness of the movie, and then there's the life-changing adventure of doing it. And I'm not even finished with that yet, actually, to tell you the truth. So by the time I get through editing and doing all the posts and going all around the world, I don't even know who I'll be then, Anthony.
All right.
So we'll find out.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for being here.